Hey there, I'm Nadia.
And I'm Will.
And welcome to episode 4 of The Lockdown, brought to you from isolation by the La Trobe Upstart crew.
This week on the show, the effect of coronavirus on mental health.
And we speak to a couple who got married on Zoom and a member of the wedding and events industry to see how they're coping.
Also, we take a look at how the La Trobe Football Club has been impacted by the pandemic.
And after that, we catch up with Gladys to discover her niche for the week.
And finally, we check in with our streaming team for another round of recommendations.
But first, here's Megan with the headlines.
Thanks, Will and Nadia. I'm Megan Lansbury with today's latest news updates. Victorians are eagerly awaiting this morning to see how social distancing rules could be relaxed after today. The news comes after Scott Morrison announced that he would like Australia to reopen by July, via a 3-step process. 10 people have been arrested and an officer has been hospitalised after a lockdown protest in Victoria got violent yesterday. Victoria is hoping to expand their coronavirus testing to test 150,000 people before the end of May. The blitz comes as social distancing rules are set to relax after today. And last week, a historic shipwreck was uncovered on a Victorian beach. Thanks to some wild weather, the 157-year-old wreck was uncovered 30 centimetres under the sand. That's all in today's news updates. Stay safe and back to you, Will and Nadia.
Thanks for that, Megan. Don't forget, you can follow along from home on Instagram at upstart_LTU. After well over a month in lockdown, social isolation is beginning to take its toll on all of us. In these difficult times, it is important to remember that we can reach out to the many support networks available to us. For more on how the current situation is affecting the community's mental health at large, here's Pam.
With the coronavirus pandemic forcing many Australians into lockdown, concerns have been raised about the possible impact on people's mental health. Social isolation has been a real struggle for many, as people cannot do their usual daily activities and unable to visit family and friends. In response, mental health professionals and services have been working on strengthening and expanding their support systems to better help their clients during these times. Mark Culkin is a clinical psychologist in Milk Park that has worked in the community for more than 13 years. He works with a wide variety of adult clients, specifically male adolescents. During the pandemic, he has been supporting his clients by listening and providing them with key information.
As a clinical psychologist, I'm attempting to support people. Oftentimes the primary way of doing that is by listening to them and validating their experience, offering them different perspectives on what it is they're reporting.
But maintaining social connections is not always easy. Across the country, community support programs have had to go on hiatus to comply with social distancing rules.
In many ways, it's similar to what I've been doing previously, looking to listen and validate. Definitely looking to offer people a connection and indeed resources about how they might be able to get through this time. Some of those resources include from the website of the Australian Psychological Society, which has some tip sheets on maintaining your mental health during social isolation, things that you can sort of do in relation to setting a daily routine and looking to maintain the social relationships that you have using the technologies that are sort of available, having fun and making sure to look after ourselves, seeking additional support when we sort of need.
Anne Cole is the coordinator at Newbury Child and Community Centre in Craigieburn. This community service holds programs that involve social support and education for preschools and families. They also connect with other programs with older groups. As a community leader, she does not directly assist the welfare. However, she explains that the shutdown of the service has impacted the families and children.
Because of the clients being in that most vulnerable category, I don't see them coming back until the centre's pretty much clear. Most of the ones that come in, they're 80 plus, and you don't want to start anything because you don't know. And I mean, we have lots of kids, but they don't mix with the other group except when we're doing joint programs. But you don't know, you can't take that risk.
Mark explains that maintaining relationships are important and that we need to be offering support to others, especially those under stress.
And so all the support that anybody can provide, whether it's a government, whether it's communities, primary health networks, councils, families, is useful.
If this piece has caused you any distress, you can talk to a GP or health professional, or contact Beyond Blue on 1300 22 4636 or Lifeline on 131114. This is Pam Kirikaitis reporting back to Will and Nadia.
Thank you, Pam, for that report. Coming into next week, I'm really not sure if we're going to see an ease of restrictions or if everything is going to be much of the same. It's really hard to tell at this stage, but one thing is for certain, everyone's really keen for sports to resume again. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I'm sure there are many weekend athletes out there just waiting for the call to lace up the boots again. Hopefully we'll find out soon just how and when community sports will start up again.
And this week we actually spoke to the Latrobe Football Club to see how isolation has impacted their team and how they are working to overcome this and prepare for a time beyond isolation. So here's Stephen with that report.
It has been almost 2 months since the coronavirus shut down sports leagues around the world and kept everyone inside. We've heard plenty of news surrounding the big leagues, but how have clubs on a community level been affected? At Latrobe University, the situation's been a bit frustrating for Andrew Sutherland, coach of the football club's senior men's team, particularly due to the timing.
Most football clubs, obviously middle of March, so you've put in a pre-season, January, February and part of March. So you've done a lot of the hard work and you're about to start really the best part of the season, the actual season itself, the playing.
The moment the news broke was unforgettable, with the whole team together to experience it.
We were waiting for an announcement from the VAFA, but we had training at 6 p.m. So we all assembled and basically we were all there together when the announcement came out that training's finished, that's it. And my perspective on it was, hey, we're already here. We're already standing in a group at 6 p.m. or in the change rooms. We'll train for 60, 90 minutes, and that's it. So we basically trained or did the training session knowing that it was going to be our last for some time.
Sutherland returns to coaching after many years away, and it's been difficult not being able to see the players.
Football is really dependent on teams working together, and that personal communication is incredibly important, and you just can't get that remotely. People in a team, particularly in a high pressure physical contact sport like football, you have to trust one another, and that trust only comes about through time and working together on the training track and out on the ground.
On the other hand, he sees the whole situation as an opportunity to take a step back and assess everything.
To me, it's an opportunity for us to take stock of where we're at, think about our tactics and strategies, and think about some different ways of delivering them, which we've had to find.
The club has done a lot of good work adapting to the situation quickly and being organised, creating a fitness program courtesy of the captain Andy Castle and operations manager Josh Rogerson. Coaches have also been working together to put up weekly team strategy and tactics articles for players to study, alumni have been recounting past games, and the club has been making an effort to keep everyone involved.
The events coordinators, who obviously have got a pretty difficult time at the moment, they're looking at holding a Zoom-based trivia evening. Not quite sure how that's going to work, but that'll be part of the fun of it. And we're certainly planning, once the restrictions are lifted, in getting together as a group.
The unknown has made it difficult to look forward and plan ahead.
We don't know, and that's the problem. If you can plan for all these different circumstances, but they might not happen. So how far do you go?
For community clubs out there that may be struggling, Sutherland says just hang in there.
I always say that professional sport is the business of mass entertainment, and amateur sport is the business of mass involvement. And that's what we want. We want people across society to be involved. And that's what community clubs and amateur clubs like ours are all about. So, we just have to hang in there.
We all look forward to the day we see players run out onto the field again. But for now, it's back to Will and Nadia.
Thank you, Stephen, for that report. Many couples are faced with really difficult decisions during lockdown, particularly those who had weddings planned. Restrictions concerning the amount of people you can have at your wedding really has determined whether people are looking to cancel their dates or, like the couple we spoke to, move them online. Here's Gladys with more.
For many couples looking to tie the knot in 2020, the implementation of lockdown laws meant that they had to think of new and creative ways to get hitched. We spoke to Melbourne-based newlywed Karina Quigley about her journey getting married during the pandemic and how that impacted her and her partner.
It was May the 2nd was the original date we were going to do, so 2 weeks later I think it is. Just the usual like reception, ceremony, about 100 guests, blah, 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 blah. But obviously COVID got in the way of that.
The uncertainty around when lockdown would end meant that Karina and her partner Nathan were forced to make a tough decision on how they would celebrate their matrimony.
Like, I still am up in the air with some things because it was like, you kind of got to postpone without a set date and stuff like that. But yeah, we were almost everything sorted. And then we just kind of had to be like, well, maybe the rules are going to come in stronger, like 3 months ago, maybe. But then even then it wasn't clear. And then we just were like, can it? We'll do our best if we can. And then we kind of got the ceremony idea later. So.
While having their wedding outside of isolation would have been ideal, the current circumstances meant that they would instead choose to get married over the now popular teleconferencing app, Zoom. Zoom has become increasingly popular for sharing video calls.
That was really tough for us actually because like living arrangements and everything were kind of settled, like we were going to live together and we kind of rented a place, and so we could all sort that out together. All sorts of like complicated personal stuff that was just like really messy to try and organize. And I think that's when I found it really hard because it was mostly difficult because of the extra little layers that we hadn't thought of, and trying to that was one of the biggest calls, deciding whether to postpone everything or to have that ceremony and have that kind of wedding in a weird way rather than later. So yeah.
However, it wasn't all bad news. Karina found that having their wedding online created greater flexibility than she had before, with the venue being able to invite as many people as she'd like to witness her big day.
I think I invited over 100. Like there was more guests than there would have been. Maybe closer to 200, but we had 70 that clocked in at the time. So 70 people watched it, 70-something people watched it at the time. And then we're setting up a recording for a couple of people that couldn't be there.
While there were 70 people watching online, the actual ceremony was limited in guests due to regulations.
So it was the celebrant, our two witnesses, so my sister and his best mate, and then me and Nathan. And someone happened to put up a whole bunch of photos of all our family around the room so that we felt like we were looking out to people. But yeah, essentially 5 people.
And while the happy couple have traded in their wedding plans for an online wedding, celebrating their marriage again once the pandemic is over is definitely in the plans.
we hope for like an anniversary bash. So it'll be a reception. We might do a salute to the vows by doing a proper sort of redoing of the vows. But basically we want to, I guess you call it a second wedding in a year's time. So anniversary kind of.
While some couples find that moving in with a new partner can be a cause of friction, Karina says that despite isolations, the experience of being newlyweds during the pandemic has been a pleasant surprise.
I'm sure the honeymoon phase will end, but it's been really lovely. I have only praise for it. The little weird things that we have about each other, I think we've already known or we're figuring out on okay terms. So it's actually been really good. And because we both have a little bit of work, him basically full-time and me 3 days a week, we have like things to do that we enjoy or that challenge us. So it's been really nice.
As for advice that she has for other couples in a similar position, she says the most important thing to consider is the emotional toll that this pandemic has on couples, and that kindness is imperative to getting through this time and making the tough decisions.
Yeah, be kind to yourself and be kind to your partner and be kind to one another so that you can kind of work through something that's ultimately a practical thing, but really actually like kind of an emotionally charged thing. So
the restrictions on weddings have also had their effect on businesses who rely on receptions and ceremonies. We spoke to Catherine McClintock, who runs Eagle's Nest Luxury Mountain Retreat, to ask her how her business has managed through this time.
Technically, you can still be open if the wedding is of 5 people, but most people want their big 100 people weddings. So no, until the restrictions are lifted, you can't do anything really.
For Catherine, the reality of an ongoing mortgage and continuous bills forced her to shut down temporarily and only reopen for couples to stay at her accommodation.
It's put a huge financial strain. So I still have like a $6,000 a month mortgage that I can't pay because I have no money coming in.
Catherine was still in the process of developing her business to run wedding ceremonies, and this shutdown left her questioning how to respond to bookings that could no longer go ahead.
You still have bills to pay. I still have rates to pay. I still have insurance to pay. I still have, pay-as-you-go tax to pay or GST and staff to pay. So really you can't afford to refund your weddings because you've got the risk of going bankrupt and then you've got no business at all. So you technically could still have a wedding, but most brides want their big day. They want the photos. They want, their video with all their friends and family around them. So a lot of people are postponing. And then you get into the whole, do you refund? Because the financial loss has this trickle effect. And I can't afford to refund my accommodation, let alone a wedding. And, for me, who's been married twice, I think it's just a bit of paper. So the main thing is that you get married to the partner that you love and you just have a party later.
These times are tough for everyone, but working together and making the most of it is what will get us through to the other side. Head to our social and tell us what you think of Zoom and Facebook Live weddings. Now back to the studio with Will and Nadia.
Thank you for that report, Gladys. I feel like it's so interesting to see how many people have decided to move their weddings online, with Instagram Live and with YouTube and with Zoom. There are so many different options that people actually have to have those. But next up, we actually have Gladys diving into the kitchen to try and discover her niche. So do stay with us.
Yeah. Wait, no. Hey guys, welcome back to Gladys Finds Her Niche, and this week I'm trying cookies. So today I'm going to be attempting one of MasterChef's pressure test recipes, the chocolate sphere. The first step, I'm going to make the cake. Step 2 is we mix 1 cup of caster sugar. Alright, that's melted it a little bit. I'm finally ready to go into the oven. Last step. Up to the second bit. So we're making honeycomb. So we're going to get a small pot and put it on a medium heat. And we're going to add the caster sugar and 5 tablespoons of golden syrup. Second last step is take it off the heat. 2 teaspoons of white pepper. And there you have it. So now up to the fun bit, we're making the chocolate sphere. 375 ml chocolate on a medium heat on the stove. Really good. I'm waiting for the chocolate to cool down. I'm going to make my mold. Chef video was that they dipped it in really. Just give it a good swirl around, like almost like you're playing the decks. Now after you're done, you're going to want to just let them drip and hang them outside. Balls to dry, the chocolate spheres I mean. We're going to check on the cake by poking it with a chopstick. It's ready! Look at that! Now it's time to check on these balloons. Now you just let air out just gently. Alright, massive fail. This is literally like chocolate surgery. Perfect! Some edible flowers. Why does that look so good? Last step, almond spray. We're up to the last step. We're making the caramel sauce to put on top. So this is just sugar and water. Don't mix it unless necessary. Hold pan away from face and add cream. Look at that! Almost ready to go! Oh, that's sweet. It's so good. Alright guys, there you have it. Didn't think my finished product would be that good. Pretty good, tastes good, and I can totally say Gladys found her niche.
So this week, we interview Gladys to talk about finding her niche. Hey, Gladys, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. So what was it like this week? I believe you jumped into some cooking. What did you make?
Yeah. So this week was a bit of an easy and tried cooking, and I tried an MasterChef recipe, the chocolate sphere. So like the desserts where they have like it collapses and stuff. My very first time making it, and I actually aced it, so it was actually really fun. And thought that I thought at first cooking wasn't going to be as exciting as my other niches, but I reckon this one has been the best so far for some reason.
So, do you reckon you've found your niche?
Well, we've got one more try to go next week, but I reckon so far probably. I love cooking.
This could be it.
Yeah, this could be it, guys. This could be
it. Are you much of a cooker or a cook, I guess, Gladys? Do you bake much? Do you cook much? Was this a really new thing for you?
No, I hate baking, and I've never baked desserts before. I don't really like sweets at all. So that's why I tried to do this to make it more challenging. But I love cooking, like I love savory food and all that, and my mum's a really good cook. So it was really surprising how good it turned out, because you can see from the start it was more of like just me chucking everything in. And then at the end, I was so surprised because it was like this came out and I was like, what? Why does that look so good? It looked so good.
Yeah, a lot of it looked very technical. What was the hardest part?
The chocolate, putting the chocolate on the balloon and hanging it outside, and it wasn't even a cold day, and it was really funny because you're supposed to, in the recipe it says to put it on a certain temperature, and we just put it outside just like to let it dry and stuff, and then kind of went from that, and surprisingly turned out well, and that the temperature outside was perfect because it set it perfectly, and it was really hard to get the balloon out because it would stick. And keeping the sphere perfect. So I actually tried it 4 times with 4 different balloons, and one turned out perfect, which is in the video.
Great. And I guess the most important question is, we know it looked great, but how did it taste?
Oh, too sweet. It was really sweet. But it was like really yummy. Like it was really good for something that's really sweet. So I'm happy with that.
And we can expect to see you on MasterChef next season, hey? Now that you've mastered one recipe?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys will be seeing me on TV, MasterChef, I guess.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, Gladys. We look forward to seeing what you get up to next week.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but excited.
Well, we look forward to it. See ya.
Bye.
Next up, it's over to our streaming team with a few more recommendations for lockdown.
Hey, it's Aisling.
And Alanie.
And this is our weekly segment called What's Streaming, where we watch and review the most underrated TV shows that are streaming at the moment.
This week, things look a little bit different because of social restrictions and the lockdown.
Luckily, we did manage to film our first 2 episodes before lockdown laws were put into place.
So for the next 2 shows, we'll be delivering them to you remotely. But don't worry, there'll still be great content.
But this week, we are reviewing Disney Fairy Tale Weddings, a reality TV show that is streaming on Disney+.
I'm really hoping to do something to blow everything else out of the water.
The show gives an interesting insight into the behind-the-scenes look at the weddings and engagements that take place across all the Disney locations.
And these locations include Walt Disney World, Disneyland, and Disney Cruise Line. So, what were your thoughts on Disney Fairy Tale Weddings?
Well, I'm a massive Disney fan, so I loved it. I loved the inside look into the weddings and the engagements and how they all come to be. I just thought that it was so cool as a Disney fan to see an actual special insight into how it all comes to be. It was just great for me, a really cool experience.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a bit of like a dream scenario for you. unfortunately, I didn't like the show as much. I think for me, because it was marketed as a reality TV show, it was lacking in a little bit of drama, which is the main reason why I watch reality TV in the first place. So I think for me, that's the main criticism on my behalf.
Yeah, I do see where you're coming from about the drama. I think it was more of a fluff piece. There wasn't much drama in it at all. But I do think that the visuals did make up for the fact that there wasn't any drama. I think they were really compelling and colourful and engaging, and they're just so special because they're just not something you see every day, because Disney has it as their own thing, and it's just so cool to see an insight into that. And I think it makes up for the fact that there isn't any drama.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. Maybe it's because I'm not a huge Disney fan myself, so I guess the visuals just didn't make up for it, in my opinion. But it's definitely, I think I have a bit of bias because I'm not a crazy, like, huge Disney person. So I guess I kind of found it a little bit cringy. But in saying that, it was still a nice watch.
Was there anything that you did actually like about the show?
Now that I think about it, I did find like the novelty of it all quite interesting, because I've never seen like a Disney themed wedding or really like any kind of themed wedding before. So to see that was kind of cool, and to see the Disney fans was pretty like interesting. But just in my opinion, I don't think it was executed very well.
I can't even believe if this is real right now.
So, Eleni, what did you give it out of 10?
I scored the show a 7 out of 10. This is because I'm a huge Disney fan, so I loved the rare insight you get to see into their worlds and how they make everything come to be. However, I did think that the characters lacked in drama, and I also think that after one show, you could probably be done with it there and not go back and watch it again. But yeah, I do think it was still a good show for someone who's a Disney fan, and recommend it to any other Disney fans.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by your high rating of 7 there. It is very different to my rating, which is quite low, a 4 out of 10. I know it sounds really harsh, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. I'm just not a Disney person at all. And I just didn't really find the appeal. But it was nice to step out of my comfort zone and kind of watch something that I wouldn't normally watch. But still, I just couldn't even get past episode 1, to be honest.
That's all we have time for this week, guys. Join us next week as we'll be discussing Public Enemy, which streams on SBS. Head over to our Instagram to tell us what you thought of this week's show.
Yeah, I'm so excited to start watching Public Enemy. It looks like it's going to be a great show. But here is Michael with the latest game review.
Hey, I'm Michael Georgia with your new gaming suggestion. Today's game is The Tourist on Nintendo Switch. The Tourist is a platform adventure game released in 2019 where you play as a tourist, hence the name, on vacation visiting a number of tropical islands. It is a game where you're on holiday. So while you can't go on holidays in real life because of lockdown, why not take one in this game? Games already allow us to escape reality, so why not take a vacation in a video game? On these islands, you can sunbathe on the beach, go for a swim, attend a dance party, scuba dive, visit a jazz club, play in an arcade, do some shopping, explore caves looking for diamonds, or investigate the mystery behind the ancient alien ruins on each of the islands. Alien ruins? That's right, this is where the main story of the game comes from. Your holiday is interrupted and you must investigate the mystery behind these ruins. When exploring these ruins, you'll come across a number of puzzles and platforming challenges across a set of rooms that you have to complete to progress. I spoke with my friend Chris Astudo about the game to share his thoughts, since he played the game and I unfortunately do not own a Nintendo Switch.
The Tourist, at heart, is a really fun game. It incorporates platforming, puzzle, action, and adventure elements. But you can tell the developer's main focus was creating a fun game for anyone to pick up and play. Not to mention, the game looks visually stunning. Throughout my playthrough, I really enjoyed exploring each island and playing the very fun mini-games and side quests on each island. Some of the mini-games included drone flying, surfing, mining, and my personal favourite, the arcade. I was stuck playing minigames in that arcade for way longer than I thought I'd be, all because an in-game character challenged me to beat his high scores. The boss battles and puzzles to enter each monument on the islands felt new and different to other video games, which was refreshing. They had me constantly thinking how I can solve each puzzle with the little to no hints they provided. I think the game appeals to casual players as well as completionist players, because on average it takes around 5 hours for the main story and 6 hours for completionist. I really enjoyed my playthrough of The Tourist and would highly recommend the game to anyone who owns a Nintendo Switch and is happy to spend $30 on the eShop, which I think is a steal for this game.
So there you have it. The Tourist is a really good game, with Chris giving it a 9 out of 10. The only knockback is its length, but do not pass on a holiday from the madness of the real world, even if it is for a couple of hours. That is all from me today. Back to Will and Nadia.
Thank you for those recommendations, and that's about all we have time for this week. I'm Nadia.
And I'm Will, and you've been watching The Lockdown.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. You can follow us at upstart_LTU for updates about the show.
Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home.